really genuinely appreciate it. Nothing happens without it.
And look, because I know you won't do this, I'm going to do this.
What?
So, well, you called this.
Hmm?
Look, you know, you guys may have heard over the last several months a number of organizations out there saying, hey, we're actually getting screwed by big tech, and we're going to make some changes so that we're not so dependent on big tech. Especially over the last couple of days, you've seen that happen, where people have said, hey, you know, big tech, I guess, is out there. We're going to go to a subscription model. And look, that's great. I'm glad people are finally coming on to join this team. Like, we have taken, and you specifically, for years have taken the hit for blazing the trail. We have been punched in the mouth over and over and over again by big tech, and we've said, hey guys, the best way forward for this movement, if we want to be able to reach people and make this work, we have to get out of bed with big tech. We have to do it. And people always told us they knew better than us. People always told us that wasn't crap for it. And I'm just loving that people are finally waking up and seeing. So that's fantastic. We've been doing it for years. In Mug Club, we can only do it because of you. That's the model people are going to, is a Mug Club type model. People that want to support and want to do it. But I just need you to know, we've been out there taking the hits on this. You knew it. We knew it. A bunch of other people that are on the same team, that wear the same team jersey at the very least, have said that's not the way to go. And now they're coming around to it. I'm glad they're doing it. Better late than never. We do want all of these people to succeed because we want voices for conservatives to be loud and to be heard by as many people as possible and not people holding to big tech. And Steven, you've been doing it for years. You call.
I have no idea to whom you're referring, but
I like that it's a baseball reference. I really like baseball.
I will say,
Baseball's cool. Changed my mind.
I would have never been happier to be wrong.
Yeah.
You know this. I always wish that I was
right.
wrong. Where people would say, hey, they'll kill us last.
Yeah.
And it's pervasive, unfortunately, on the conservative side. And by the way, this is why we have a YouTube dump button. I want to reach people where we can reach new people, but that has changed. They've made it impossible to reach new people with the truth. Or you do, but to a much smaller degree. So something that was really exciting for us is to see the bulk of our daily viewership move over to Rumble, right? Move over to Mug Club. I mean, if you're going to be a brother in arms with someone, would you rather be someone who's doing the bidding of YouTube, Meta, Facebook, or the people who flip the bird to the government of France? The people who flip the bird to, Parliament, was it Parliament UK?
Yeah, in the UK as well.
It's hard for me to keep track of all the governments. This has been going on for a long and by the way, I know that we have sometimes some tech issues, and that's because so many of you tune in and you watch live with Rumble. So these things are not perfect. Those things are being ironed out. But long time ago, we decided, hey, we need to uncouple, I guess, to use the term from big tech. And we said, hey, the British are coming. In this case, it was big tech, gender queer, chain gang. Said, they're coming. They're coming for you. We said, no, we think we can play ball. And now a lot of people, I think, you're going to see more of this as we go into election season. Hey, we were removed immediately before the last election.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of other conservatives are going to be facing it. You can't make up for it with sponsors. You can have some sponsors. Our sponsors are long-term sponsors who we actually have a relationship with.
Yeah.
The only way to make it work is, and let me I want to say this because I really am incredibly appreciative of you, but this is something that's important to know. Sometimes I don't always talk about it. It's vulgar to promote what is effective business model. But to be clear, the business model is you support what it is that you want to see. There's a lot of tip fatigue out there. And you and I know this, where we have sometimes spoken with people about perhaps coming into Mug Club. They go, yeah, but right now I can make more. No, it's like Patreon or GoFundMe or whatever it is. Yeah, but that valve can be pinched. Well, if I combine my revenue from YouTube and I combine my revenue here and what I'm going to make, yeah, but that can always go away.
Yeah.
And so I understand that for you as a viewer right now, there's so many places to pay. I mean, not only is there like the Netflix and Peacock and Hulu and Disney and whatever else. I don't know where they do the Sylvester Stallone thing. Is it Paramount? But then you also have to go and hit a tip jar for this creator, that creator. At the end, you end up paying way more than you did for traditional cable. And what we want to do is to give you enough value where it's less than, it ends up being about $7 a month, along with this mug and more shows that you want that you were already watching. Not all of them will be home runs for you. Not every show here will be for you. But our goal with every single new sign up is more content, more impact, and more independence. We will never, ever be dependent on big tech again. If you see these doors shutter at some point in time, and when it's curtains, and that day will come at some point, it will be because you decide that you don't want to watch this anymore. You decide that the network, that monthly, isn't something that's of value. And by the way, I'm okay with that. We will never close these doors because YouTube, Facebook, Meta, or even Twitter, X, sorry, it's hard to know all these chicken names, say, hey, you're not allowed a seat at the table. You decide if we stay or go, and I would much rather be serving you, be beholden to you, than to some asshole in Palo Alto who probably says that we should take refugees while he has a spare bedroom. So if you're watching on YouTube, head to Rumble. If you're watching on Rumble, click this button right now. You can join Mug Club and continue watching because it is chat. Thank you very much. We are going to see you on Mug Club and Mug Club members, of course, tomorrow, another show. Peace off, YouTube.
Turn up.
That's a long, healthy stream.
You know what? I will say, I mean, most people they have 6 minutes of breaks 4 times per hour on radio. What? And we just, sometimes we have to go take a tinkle. By the way, Tuesday is the Halloween. What is it with signers always having to look weird? Bring that up full screen because I have to blow my nose anyway.
First patient arrived at 7:24.
It's like they put their own emotion into it.
Team members, physicians, nurses, respiratory therapists who are already available.
All right.
to
She
take
doesn't respect respiratory
What the
therapists.
heck was that? It's like Mr. Bean. Look at her. She's making facial. Like, you could just go like, or she's going.
Did you see that?
Am I supposed to steal, bunt? What am I supposed to do? Swing away?
Yeah, it's a hit and run.
Yeah.
Did you see that the lady in Georgia that got caught doing fake signing for the police?
No.
Yeah. This is a great
So
thing.
funny.
This lady.
Wait, in Georgia, like the country or Georgia the state?
No, in the state of United States of this America. And
This America.
of this America, yeah. There's a couple. There's a South America.
I'll be right back.
I
So she was like just sitting there, just like, doing whatever.
She was doing shadow hands.
It wasn't that bad, but if somebody can find it,
All right, we've got it right now. Here we go. Watch this. Watch this here. You can't say you have it if you don't have it.
The best thing is before she got hired.
Look,
She's doing the Bieber heart.
it's a TikTok dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good.
She heard him say, "We're looking for the suspect," and she was.
Was she just doing that in the video, or was she actually the official signer?
She's the official. She was hired by the police department there, I think in Atlanta or Decatur or something like that. But she had a record, a history of doing this. She's been caught like 4 or 5 times.
Well, it's so weird that she keeps doing it. Like, that's a fetish.
Well, I don't think it's weird on your resume.
Yeah,
Fake signer.
You know why that happened, right? You know she walked in. They're like, well, we'll call you back. Like, oh, you call me back? Is it because I'm black? Like, you're hired. Whatever.
she did it inside. She was like,
She starts spelling it like, oh, is that because you think?
"What is it?
No.
Is there Ebonic sign language? Like, is there something in the sign language that's for this?"
I think that's what it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
She tries to sign it. She's like, lawsuit.
Yes, exactly.
Hired.
She signs like Al Sharpton reads prompters.
she's actually doing sign language, but she's just pronouncing everything. I love that.
Yes.
Imagine a signer for Al Sharpton.
I still can't get over the.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
It's like in Sunday school, like,
Yeah.
and Noah looked across all the animals 2 by 2.
Or like a Broadway show.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm looking for my husband. Have you seen him? No, you haven't.
I hope he's handsome. I hope he's tall.
I hope he's not a jerk.
By the way, great musical theater in Palestine.
Oh,
It's off Broadway. They actually just offed a Jew named Broadway.
Oh, come on.
I bet you if you got a bunch of those Hasidic Jews and a bunch of those Hasidic Hamas, I guess. Here's how we saw it. We got to do a dance battle. We got to do a dance off.
Jews would win that. Have you seen the video?
Oh, I know they would win
Kicking
that.
dancing.
I said it myself. I know they'd win.
Well, there's the rapping Hamas guy, the rapping Palestine
I
rapper.
don't care.
I don't know. He was on Pierce Morgan.
What was his name? Peacetime?
No, you know what's funny? It's Pierce Morgan has been hosting these guys. Like he had Ben Shapiro on, and he had some pro, but he's had so many pro Hamas or pro Palestine people on, and he often like, no one has had more people on than I have. I think it's not fair to say that. I'm not doing that this down the middle, and he just lets them come on because they all behave like children.
Yeah.
So he is giving them more airtime, but he knows what he's doing.
Pierce Morgan does that with a lot of people. He'll put them on and make them look like fools.
But he doesn't do anything. He knows they'll make themselves.
Yeah.
They just can't help but interrupt and just talk over him.
No, Maple Donuts. It's almost noon. We got pretzel bites.
Yeah, dude, Jason.
Something in the tummy. All I've had today is AG1 and coffee.
But they took that away.
Did you have terrible views on guns?
Podcast.
All right, my wife is messaging me now.
Diving.
That's it.
Diving.
Pretty sure that's what that is.
It's a very good
comment. That's the best statement I've ever heard in my life. The Spooktacular contest.
I'm hoping what I just found in front of Lincoln was empty. Sent a photo. Do you want to reply?
I'm S Crowder. What am I on Instagram? Am I louder with Crowder on Instagram?
I have no idea.
Okay. Or louder W Crowder? I don't know because someone was saying on Stephen
Send
Crowder.
it to us on air.
So if you search me, you'll actually be able to find me. You can send it to us on air, and then you will win an entire care package. Use the promo code, or sorry, the hashtag Spooktacular.
Yeah.
Spooktacular.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. We used to do it live.
Yeah.
We did it at SMU, and then we did it at U of M until then COVID, when we couldn't do anything live, and we never had the sound right. So
No,
because
we
we'd have to do sound for the theater live,
Yeah.
and then do sound for the live stream, and it was just such a disaster. It's a lot more fun live in person.
If you do it live, it's fantastic. Its own thing. We can't stream it. It's just, it doesn't work.
We probably could now. We probably have a team of people who could do it.
We could
now.
probably do it well. We have competent people working.
We have people who know. It's just look. This is a
I'm not disparaging, but some of the team, a particular team member we had was.
It was out of my garage back then.
Yes.
We have capabilities now. And plus, Toolman likes that security.
He does.
Oh, these guys are great, but have you met a theater employee recently?
No.
God.
Oh, they're almost dead. They're all like 87.
Yeah.
Every time I do a theater show, I go in there and like there's always at least one old lady sitting down somewhere, and she goes, "So how long is it gonna be?" Like it's an old union lady. Like, yeah. She's some old lady. She's like, she looks like she's volunteering. She's not volunteering. She's definitely getting paid. She's there to sharpen the pencils. Yeah, she's falling asleep half
Parliaments.
I probably have 5 texts from Gabe William right now with theater Dave. You gotta get that fixed tonight.
Yeah.
Stop. Eventually, I'm looking forward to it.
There's a guy at the Everett Theater that owes me a tape.
Maybe I'll do some dates just in Tulsa now.
I love it.
You should. It's a good club. I went there for their soft opening.
Okay.
Which means that it's not hard.
Oh, geez.
It's. Thanks, you music.
Get the wrong leg, right angle. Is it like almost 300 seats or something?
Yeah, it's 300. They could put more in there, but it's just not comfortable. It's just weird. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's nice. And Tulsa people are cool.
Yeah. No. If I maybe I'll do some dropping.
Hey, absolutely.
It's got to be something that's easy that I can just drive to, boom, do a few things, leave, and then at some point maybe if we do the murder show tour. But you guys can check and let us know. You have to understand. You don't have to understand. What have to understand is if we were to do, let's say, like we've discussed, and they've asked me, or at least in one capacity, Nick, Brewer, Callan, myself, probably you. We'd have to be off 2 weeks from the show and do it in a concentrated, like 10 dates and 14 days or something. Like do that. We'd probably do some filming behind the scenes, kind of like a pseudo documentary type thing. But it's just I can't be here and then immediately, because once the show is done, we still have hours of prep where I can't be out of here until at least 4 o'clock. And then we're going to be on stage at 7. So it's a time constraint. And that really is my first love. I really enjoy it because I get to spend time with you guys. It's just tough to pull off. But we do get to at least do some. Before I said chat, there's a little bit perfect second. But you're going to be, you know what? I do get to spend time with you with Chat Thursday. And Josh Firestone gets to spend time with you. Downtown in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I lost my heart in Tulsa.
You didn't?
No.
You had a stint?
No, that was that black guy.
Oh, you can't say also with the massacres, bro.
Who was that guy? Who was that Republican politician that was running for something and then he went to very cool. He went to that rally and told somebody died.
I don't know. Well, Herman Cain died. That was pretty cool already. I don't think it was a Tulsa thing.
He wasn't a 9-9.
No, there was another guy. There was one. He's a doctor.
Really? I don't know Black Doctor. I can think it was Ben Carson. I'm sure there are others.
Nah, did Ben Carson die?
No.
I don't think Ben Carson. Ah, dang. I mean, not dang. Good for him.
His last words would sound exactly like his first words. I gotta say, I enjoyed every second of his damn career. And I love her. And the twins. That I hope that even though I separated them, they live a full life. I closed my eyes. And I did that.
Imagine if that guy's your doctor.
Well, he's a great doctor.
He is fantastic.
Oh, he's an
I don't want him talking to me though.
Yeah, no.
I want his bedside manner.
I'm gonna give you the anesthesia. I'm gonna give you the anesthesia.
Give somebody else this.
Take you right
Already
to the point where you will die, but then we back it off a little bit. And you won't die. You'll maybe feel sleepy. You feel some sleepy, but you won't have this person attached to your head anymore.
Were they attached at the head?
Yes.
Oh,
You separated conjoined twins at the head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that is neat. Be easier if it's like the butt.
Yeah. And he just did it. You just did it with a bottle of clear and a paper cutter.
Yeah, he just walked in and karate chopped him apart.
Yeah.
Somebody
the
doesn't get a
brain-
butt.
I don't care. It's better than losing your brain, you moron.
No, they weren't attached to the butt. They were
Oh, it's gotta be better.
attached to the
Why
butt.
couldn't conjoined twins be attached at the gluteus maximus? That'd be easier to deal with.
Because they would eat and never shit.
I didn't say completely clog up the heart.
They would be the slowest thing on 4 legs.
A reverse human centipede.
No, but think of it at an angle. I'm not saying like flat butt to butt. I'm thinking like, cheek
Oh my
to cheek.
God!
You
Imagine the
never go butt
runoff.
to butt, Gerald.
I don't think you should.
When we're dancing cheek to cheek. All right, I'll fix it. All right,
Done.
Let's take some chats.
One of you has a flat butt.
Cheek to cheek is called moon landing. So question for Josh and the crew for Chat Thursday. How do you fight against political corruption at the local level when the ones in power own all the local media, attorneys, judge, whatever? So it sucks to have Target on your back for having a conscience and being willing to take a stand for justice.
Well, no, that's not lost. I do understand, too, they will take aim at you. That's why a lot of good people just don't want to run for office. And it's not that the good people don't want to run for office because they have a bunch of skeletons in their closet. It's because they spent a lifetime building up their name that they know will be taken from them anyway. Right? For example, look at like Trevor Bauer. His name was taken from him anyway because a lawyer decided to withhold evidence and release fake pictures. So, yeah, that's why a lot of good people don't. I will say this, though. You find some, I hate to use the word influencers, but the good news is local media is not nearly as effective as it used to be, and you can have a few key people who are able to get information out there. So what used to be the really, I guess the really glorious thing about what they call new media, now it's just social media, is you can sort of bypass the gatekeepers. Not so much anymore, but I will say on a local level you can. There's a lot that you can do with boots on the ground. A lot of local elections also can be influenced by small donations as opposed to at a national level in giant PACs. So I wouldn't say that all hope is lost, but the real issue, honestly, with local elections is simply awareness. Most people, and I'm guilty of this, I couldn't tell you all of my local representatives. I mean, I can tell you about my senator in my district. I can tell you, the people who obviously would be in the national spotlight, but I couldn't tell you, for example, the constable. So just raising awareness. If you get two people and awareness first and foster a relationship with the local community, you really can have a distinct advantage because a lot of people do not take an interest in local politics unless you put it right in front of their face. And the left does that pretty well, but you certainly can do it better. Just down to work ethic.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you're really far less dependent on media when you're talking about local elections anymore, right? The local media covering you really doesn't do anything. They're not going to cover you anymore. So it doesn't matter.
We allow the people that are good people in the community and are good people because of that reason.
Yeah.
Because they're in the community doing things that are not being, influenced by voters.
Is this the governor of Maine on CNN right now?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, is that Stephen Gutowski? I used to know Stephen Gutowski. Nice guy. He used to do a podcast about video games and guns. He's lost weight, and he looks good for him. He used to have a shaved head and used to be heavy. I said as a compliment. He's lost some weight. He looks good. Sorry, I just didn't know that. I thought Stephen Gutowski is the governor of Maine. No, he's just on there. All right.
They spoke earlier. The 18 killed, 13 injured. So
oh my gosh. I used to be ambivalent about the death penalty, not anymore. I'm very, very pro death penalty.
13 injured. It was like 80 last night.
Well, there was a lot of reporting that you really the death toll was up to the low 20s, I think. Even one of the clips that we ran last night, they had 20 as that. That's why we went with a good job, team, because I even pushed back on this because I saw those numbers. They couldn't confirm it, so we're sticking with what we know. 16 or plus, right, is what we knew, and it's 18 right now. 2 more critically injured. So
well, that's good news that it's not 80
it is.
Injured.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's one report I said that I saw that it was a stampede.
Really?
Like people were like stampeding out of the bowling alley.
Like Mecca?
No,
I mean that happens every year at Mecca. People get stampeded. It happens all the time.
And they don't get to them for a little while.
I mean, a hot Wednesday night at the bowling alley in Maine, like that's a busy night.
That's a horrible.
That's a league night, probably.
Yeah, probably. Wow, it's really. And let us know, by the way, Mission Control, if there are any new developments that come in. I never want to bring you information that is unverified or really has no value at this point. We know people are dead. We know that this guy had mental health issues. This isn't one of those scenarios we could say we never saw it coming. And then, of course, we'll use it to try and transition into red flag laws and the TAPS Act, where it's the politicization. Look, if you want to know where we went, go watch the Change Our Minds on the Second Amendment. That's why we do those. They're evergreens that give you the need to knows that I believe are the most important arguments, the most effective arguments, so that you know what they are arguing from the left. I've always said this, Heller versus DC, that famous case, you need to know the dissenting opinions in that Supreme Court case. They didn't argue when it comes to court. There are only some arguments that hold water, and they cannot, even leftist judges cannot make the case that the Constitution says, oh, wait, this only applies to muskets, or oh, wait, this doesn't apply to assault weapons. The only argument that they make when they have to is you have no right to own firearms whatsoever. Right. It's the same thing with the court of public opinion. I use Amber Heard as an example because it's one that you remember. The court of public opinion, Johnny Depp abused me. in court, no, actually, he never hit her, she hit him, right? There's a very big difference when someone is, okay, under the threat of legal perjury right now, did this happen? No, it did not. Because they said so on page 6. The lawyer said so about whatever her name was Trevor Bauer, but in an actual court of law, all of a sudden your opinion changes. So look at the actual legal arguments against the Second Amendment, and they're spine chilling. Let's grab another chat.
All right, so question here for the crew. What do you think the government response will be when the inevitable Hamas attack happens? A legal alien entering our country.
Hand wringing.
I don't.
Blame.
I don't know that it's inevitable.
I don't think it's inevitable.
It is.
A Hamas terrorist? I mean, there could be a terrorist attack.
They said terrorist, and I think they're saying Hamas. Like maybe it's Hamas inspired. Or... And because of the dereliction of duty of this administration and the leader of this administration, we will have something happen here. It is efforts, the likes of which we have not seen in decades in this country, happens to stop them. Because we have that access to guns. Check, we fund all of this stuff. Unfortunately, it seems like our money's being used. We leave pallets of cash and weapons in Iran, and we've probably done it other places too. And we have a border that isn't secure at all, and we have record numbers of terrorists being arrested at the border. It's like, this is obvious. Like, this is the obvious thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
We just don't know how bad it will be. Is it going to be a mass event? I don't think so. Is it going to be something where maybe they do something like this?
What would I like to see the government do? Probably not go into another foreign war. What
Sorry,
I'd like to
guys.
see do is root out every single terrorist here and close the border down and
right.
execute them with prejudice. That's what I would like.
I was
to see.
dealing with shit on my
I don't
phone.
want
That's why the
another-
volume kept cutting
Can you
out.
execute them on the wall and kick them into Mexico?
I'm back.
Humpty style.
Doc is back. Back again.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah. They had a great fall.
Oh, he's gonna have a
The
good.
best fall.
I'm back.
No, that's the thing. Is I don't want to go into another foreign war. I think that war, you only go to war if it directly affects your national security. And here's the truth. We have made mistakes now where the solution may not necessarily be,
Not gonna
the
pass.
solution is keeping us safe. Now should be who is coming in the country and then figuring out who is here now, what's going to be more effective. Closing the border and finally getting to the bottom as to how many sleeper cells or going into the Middle East again. That hasn't worked at all. Now, if we know that there is a plot and a government that is aiming, high-powered weapons over here, rockets, missiles here, whether like nukes or not, at the United States, that's different. But if, for some reason, it's really tough to know because Hamas will take credit, kind of like the Taliban would, even though it wasn't. It's like, yeah, put my name on this. So, I mean, by the way, thank you for your show, Justin. Thank you for your show.
I don't think that there's an attack. I don't.
100%.
I hope. I like. Yeah, I feel optimistic.
Yeah.
But I do think if there is one, I think that whether they like it or not, they're responsible for their security.
Yeah.
Like you said,
That's
trying
what I
to figure out. Even if no matter what the administration is, I think that you have no choice but you have obligation to to then say, all right, now border security is a problem because it's not me being racist. It's not all the reasons they say border security makes you a bad person. They can't claim it anymore if somebody comes over and does that.
And I would take it on. I really would. I would take it out on the leadership of Mexico.
Some kind of
said that
sanctions.
they're not going to protect the border and they blamed us for trying to put up a wall. I would say, okay, you start doing your part where every time there is a terrorist attack, there's going to be some kind of a sanction. There's something that we are going to do that is, oh, guess what? Sorry, now a tariff on any goods coming in, or you know what? We're not going to be allowing we're not going to be doing business with your country. It hurts you more than it hurts us. Start getting your shit together.
Yeah, I think that's fair. By the way, one of the worst
For Canada, they come from
some of the problems that we're facing. An assault weapons ban. Former Vice President Joseph Biden coming out and saying they're calling for an assault weapons ban after the right on time.
But he trot out the tired old trope that I was a part of the assault weapons ban while in there, and it worked. Okay. The overall violent crime went down because of Rudy Giuliani at that point. He took a third of the nation's crime.
New York was just doing so bad.
There was already a trend, and the assault weapons ban lapsed. Crime continued to go down. So no, it didn't work, and it just made it far more difficult for law-abiding citizens to produce firearms. But by every objective measure we have, it did not work. My guess is that's probably what he's saying. They'll probably trot out the Australia gun buyback, and they'll bring out these old tired guns like Baylor worked in, which, by the way, is an entire ban on guns and didn't work. So, no surprise. It's always the same talking points. they won't, and then they'll say that, well, it's time to act now. Republicans don't want to do anything. No, what you want to do will make things worse. At least conservatives are saying, hey, let's wait a moment. You never make a better decision rashly.
Yeah.
That's just a good rule of thumb. This isn't even done yet.
Think it over.
Yeah.
Sleep up. Well, Joe Biden probably did sleep up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But
Yes. You
Take
should
a
always
night.
sleep.
Yeah.
Take a foot.
All right, question for Stephen. Anticipating the red flag law argument from the left in response to this shooting, how would you respond to them in this situation? Love the show, and I really appreciate it, Josh.
Thank you very much, Josh. And this is something, I wasn't ever trying to stand back and Crenshaw showed me supporting the TAPS Act. And came down to it, I said, okay, how is this not red flag laws? Now, here's the deal. If someone is adjudicated by court mentally defective, that's one thing, and that already exists. The problem with the red flag laws is you can have a neighbor who doesn't like you and says, ooh, there's suspicious behavior. Now, I do think if someone is in the military and has a track record of making threats to kill other people, and this is someone who has sought
All right, I gotta get off here.
Health counseling for violent behaviors, then that is something that, by the way, would be wrong. These are behaviors. Patient-doctor privilege doesn't apply if you talk about harming other people. So we have those systems in place. Adding to those systems, oh, and by the way, this person takes a Xanax. And by the way, this person came back from war and has PTSD and has to take, nerve pain medication. No, we don't need to add that. What we need is a system that is clear, that is transparent, that we understand, and certainly someone who is. Let's start with this: the same people who are arguing for red flag laws are the same people who have no cash bail, where it's a revolving door of violent criminals. Hey, let's start with this: you commit a violent crime.
You going straight, dude?
A felony, a crime of violence.
The fuck are you
against your fellow
doing?
Citizens. At that point, okay, you are put on the list where, all right, we have at least a waiting period, or those laws apply to you. I'm not talking about cheating on your taxes.
The fuck are you doing,
I'm not talking
dude?
about graffiti. I'm talking about, at the very least, a serious violent crime.
If you're fucking turning right,
I'm not
Jesus.
starting with that. And I'm not even
You
saying
just
that's
figured
what
out that truck
we
is,
should do. What I'm saying is these people aren't starting with that point. These people allow violent
Turning.
criminals to go
we have a
free.
signal on
The
all the way.
recidivism rate that we had in New York City, someone from Mission Control can bring it back up.
Around
80-something% of violent
He doesn't know
crimes
where he's
being
going.
committed by people who had already been caught and released for
Fucking
committing
moron.
violent crimes. But they want to have this opaque red flag law where anyone can report you and you get put on effectively a gun version of a no-fly list. Sort of like when people say, hey, what about dreamers? What about kids? And all right, fine, but can we deport illegal immigrants who are filling up our prisons? Well, no. Well, then it's not about the kids. It's not about the anchor babies. Hey, if we're going to talk about removing rights, and by the way, rights can be removed the moment that you infringe on someone else's rights violently. This is not a big government thing. Libertarians don't say, oh, you're being hypocritical. No. If you use your Second Amendment right to kill an innocent person, you forfeit that right. If you commit a violent crime, you forfeit your right to vote on the laws that will protect people from violent crimes. Just to be clear, there's the argument to be made. If you've served your sentence, you gain it back. The left isn't even starting from that. They don't want to, because it shines a light on what they're actually doing. They want to turn law-abiding citizens like you into criminals and hardened violent criminals into a voting base. So don't be fooled by that.
Yeah. Another chat from Park of the Patriot. Question: I have a Christian friend who is Palestinian descent. She is sharing pro-Hamas information on her social media. I am unsure how to tell her that she is going directly against her faith by supporting them. I would like an intelligent way to point this out to her. Please help.
Well, I think this is pretty illuminating because people say you have to separate between the people of Palestine and Hamas. Not always. Not always. A majority. And then you have a lot of people who say, I wonder what they would say if they were being polled, if they were being polled in a way where they weren't afraid to answer. I can't tell you how many people I see supporting Hamas, not just in Palestinian people, but even people here who claim that they are pro-Palestine, acting as apologists for Hamas. Going, well, what would you do on occupied? That's not where we are right now.
Right.
This is not atypical. Just like we talked about, what was the number? Was it 190-something million Muslims support? 198 million Muslims. I didn't want to be misquoted. I believe 198 million Muslims. I think it's 54 million.
There you go,
Muslims in
brother.
the world support violence often. 198 million Muslims on Earth right now support violence against civilians.
Civilians, yeah.
Sometimes. is it any surprise?
He reposted it
This is a person whose hatred
with all the trunk, without the trunk stream.
I mean, and so I guess in this is one of those things where we do have to take a step back and look at what is being promoted, what is being said, right? So, for example, there's
They were halfway smart enough not to leave it where they were
They do
talking.
whatever they want, right? That's somebody who's obviously pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine. There's no really kind of looking any further into that. There's also somebody who could post like, "I'm praying for the people of Palestine." Right? Now, you may say, hey, there's more, right? You have to make sure that you're also praying for the people that they attacked, right? And Hamas, and you can you question their leadership. But that's where you have to figure out, okay, where is this person? Because
On
there's
his
nothing
page.
wrong with saying
What?
this is a tragedy. There's nothing wrong with praying for peace over there.
I didn't
In general,
repost it.
I pray that this area is not going to be war-torn and a conflict-ridden area. But you
I just posted the original link.
one side. I think that's where people kind of get a little off kilter on this. That's not against your faith.
I thought you
So
did,
I don't
because
want
it's
people rushing
the one you
to
posted.
condemn and say that's not your faith. That's
It's
not
just trimmed.
your
Did you
faith.
just trim it?
Pro one or the other. You have to understand Israel.
If you trimmed it, that shouldn't have changed the link.
You can't replace them with a Christian church, and you also can't
I don't know.
vilify them and just say.
I haven't even
"God
looked at my
doesn't
studio
care
in a
about
few
them.
days.
They killed God, right? We talked about this, and it really pisses me off. You cannot be anti-Semitic and Christian at the same time. It means you do not understand your Bible, and you need to go back and read it again.
No, I didn't repost. I posted it just on my the link on my community.
There are anti-Semitic.
I put the link on
very strong Christians.
already on Twitter or X.
So many. I think it's a pretty small.
No, it's been big vocal. Right?
Yes.
It's
I think
not
that's the
like a
only
very
places
small
that I
crowd,
posted it.
Group of people out there that are doing this, and it really
No worries.
frustrates me when I see it on Twitter.
I saw you did a short of it, but it looks like did you trim the end of the actual video?
Start a
Just the
conversation
trunk
so
crap?
They know about what's going on in Israel and Palestine. Yeah. Why are they supporting Palestine? As a Christian, why are they saying what they are saying?
Well, if they support Hamas, you can start off with that, because that's an
If
easy
they support
entry.
Hamas,
If they're
that's
actively
bad.
supporting Hamas, go, okay, so
Yeah.
you're for genocide.
Right. You're for people who literally planned for 2 years to go kill civilians. And I hate to do this, but you need to educate yourself a little bit about what actually happened. And thankfully and terribly, Hamas wore body cams when they went over there. There's footage of people sitting as a family and a 17-year-old being forced to go door to door and knock to get the neighbors out so that Hamas could shoot them, and then when they shot the 17-year-old along with the rest of the family.
Yeah.
There's footage of that.
Hey, how about until you actually fix your own water pipes,
The chopper.
you don't get to use foreign aid for GoPros.
That's right.
Right? How about that?
Or hang gliders. It's fair.
Well, they were second gen, so
Yeah, this is just the GoPro 3. It's not even the 360.
I don't. No offense to your friend, but Palestinian descent. What does that mean? Is that American? That's like a second generation, third generation. What generation are we talking about? Because the Palestinians' biggest complaint that they're being occupied and it's their land and that they need more land and Israel's taking their land. I mean, you're not even there.
Right. Yeah.
Is it even your land? You're not even there. You're in. What are you? Iowa? What are you? Oh, that's our land from the river. And you see these kids too chanting. They're walking down the hallway of their schools, or they're in the streets in New York City or Detroit or wherever, and they're from the river to the what river? What streets? The Mississippi and Broadway? What are you talking about? You
From the
don't live there.
corn to the corn.
Concerned with 50, also this number 50% children, 50%. I keep coming back to it because it just. Where are the adults? Are they all fucking leaving? Like, what is? Are they? Oh, Palestine sucks. We're leaving. Leave the kids, and then we can use it as a guilt trip later.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's when they talked about like refugees, right? The Syrian left.
You never see any kids with them.
They were military-aged men, and Barack Obama took less than 1% of Christians. Less than 1% of the refugees were Christians. You would think that a higher percentage. Yeah, we wrote about it. We covered it on the show. You would think that since they're being executed, burned alive,
Burned in cages.
burned in cages, they should be the first ones coming in. So, it really, look, okay, are they actually supporting Hamas? And that's a pretty easy one. Just bring up the chart. Or bring up the mission statement, the Jerry Maguire moment of Hamas, which is to eradicate all Jews. And if this person says, well, yeah, and supports it, I would say go on your merry way. You're not going to convince this person. But if they don't know, and they have ears to hear, then you can walk them down the trail. But I also don't believe in wasting time. And this is someone who doesn't change their mind. If I were to sit down and someone goes, well, actually, I think that Hamas would support Hamas, I'm like, okay, you're free to go. I'm not going to have that conversation. Final chat
from Sir Mick Sonalot. Question for the crew. With all the anti-Semitism on display on progressive college campuses nationwide since the attacks on October 7th, do you think the ADL would honestly reassess what they consider currently white supremacy as the biggest threat against Jews in the U.S.?
No, they'll just say that the anti-Semitism is the result of white supremacy.
Yeah, you're going to be streaming today once you're loaded.
No, that's the
White supremacy is always supreme on the list.
Yeah.
Terrorists and or whatever, biggest threats to the U.S.
Yes, it's always there. Which I've never met one.
The white supremacists?
Yeah, I've never met an actual white supremacist.
I met one, and that was in high school.
I met one guy who
He's like
said,
the Edward Norton of white supremacists.
I met
Like,
one
he was
guy
like
I
that.
told the story, like said the N-word in a really, like a genuinely hateful racist context,
Right.
and it was in Virginia at a Bob Evans. And I was shocked.
I met a few, but that was a family reunion.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
No, and I differentiate between someone quoting a joke. If they're doing a Dave Chappelle bit or Chris
Right.
Rock bit, and they say the N-word, or they're singing along to whatever, a Kanye album. There's a huge. I mean, someone who actually
Right.
uses it in a hateful. It's so rare to actually encounter it, and I get that they probably wouldn't be comfortable around people like us just talking that way. But still, you would think that this place would be crawling with white supremacists.
Well, you haven't spent much time in northern Idaho.
I don't know. I have not. I know land is expensive there now, so they've probably been forced out. Unless they're billionaire white
I'm gonna
supremacists.
get killed in the comments by Idahoans.
No,
Idahos?
I don't think people from Idaho are watching because we don't have a huge billionaire
They're boiled
demographic.
potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Really quickly, I want to pull up this. We talked about the conflict there. So this is from Iran's foreign minister says that if the genocide in Gaza continues, the U.S. will not be spared from this fire.
How is it?
Hold on. What fire? You really want to play this game? Bring it. I'm sorry. You're going to bomb us because Israel is defending itself. You know what? I'm at the point right now where, again, Josh, you quoted this the other day, and it's an incredibly powerful quote. But I don't want the war. I really don't. I would prefer all of us go the rest of our lives without ever experiencing a war again. Everybody on the same page with that? That'd be fantastic, right? I know that we live in the real world, and that's not going to happen. But Iran, what you got?
well, we also said as it related to Israel, not one American body. Aside from going to retrieve our hostages, not one American body. Bring that up. Bring that up again. That quote there that we just had, that tweet about Iran. So Iran's foreign minister says that if the genocide in Gaza continues, the U.S. will not be spared from this fire. Okay, first off, there isn't genocide. Typically, when you talk about genocide, Hitler didn't say, all right, listen, Jews, there's going to be some bombs in Berlin. What I want you to go south. Go south, Jews. Go south. You'll be safe there.
Yeah.
There's the sun. Aquafina. No.
Avoid the train stations.
Yes, avoid the train stations at all costs.
They're out of
If someone says it's a show at 9, it's not a show at all. Just take baths.
Oh, dude.
Hitler bad. Hitler bad, okay? But when they say genocide in Gaza, by the way, the number of people dead doesn't equal genocide. One of the bloodiest battles in history. Yeah, it doesn't mean genocide. Hey, do you know how many? You're talking about hundreds of thousands died in the Civil War.
What a shitty genocide.
Think of 4,000. 4,000. I mean, and are there a lot of innocent women? Sure, because one side uses them as human shields. So just because the number, this is what they always say, they go David and Goliath. Well, guess what? Hold on a second. Just because one side is successful doesn't mean that they're automatically the evil. Just because one side is better at war doesn't mean that they are wrong, to be clear. Just because one side is better at war and they want to free slaves doesn't mean that they are wrong. Just because the they do the same thing with the A-bomb in Hiroshima, and they go, oh, I can't. Well, hold on a second. Do you have any idea what the Japanese and the Chinese were doing to each other in internment camps? If you want to believe in true evil, for crying out loud, just because we can't just assume because someone wins that they must be an oppressor and they are the oppressed. And I think we all agree, not one American soldier, when we're talking about Israel, this is their battle to fight. Morally, they absolutely have the right to defend themselves. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I think we all want to avoid the war, but when you are facing this kind of language,
Whatever, Chopper.
we all want to avoid war, just to be clear. And I certainly don't want us to be involved in proxy wars. I think it's a stupid term. And I get that people say, oh, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. We're kind of beyond that now, because someone who's our friend, we've learned this in the Middle East, this year, just add time and they're going to be our enemy. We all want to avoid war. We are not isolationists, but I would say we are non-interventionists. This is Iran flexing. This is Iran saying that they want to hold us accountable for what Israel does to defend itself. Every
I
single person
used to actually park in that garage,
when you look at the steps,
but it's not just the boxes in the back. It's all kinds of shit that she's brought home.
I'll talk with you guys tomorrow, but
Literally everything in that garage is stuff that she's either purchased
no new wars
and replaced in the house. And
Donald Trump, he's an asshole. The Abraham Accords, these
I
are
don't
the
know.
biggest peace deals that had ever been signed in the Middle East. Donald Trump, he's an asshole. When he took a step with Iran, when you look at the nuclear proliferation, the Iran nuclear deal that was signed off under Obama and basically effectively restarted in one iteration or another with Biden. Certainly our posturing and all of these things, by the way, were the behavior of a bombastic asshole who sent mean tweets but was trying to avoid war. Now, when you take those steps to try and avoid war preemptively, and you are still met with the U.S. will not be spared from, I don't want you to think that I'm a Lindsey Graham or a John Bolton who's never met a war that I didn't like. But when they say you will not be spared from the fire, and this is a nation of evil people, hell-bent on ethnic cleansing, and they start turning their arms at us, I hope that I can speak for most of us when I say, we don't want it, but Iran, if you start it, fill your hands, you son of a bitch. We'll see you tomorrow.
a Rooster Cogburn quote. Fill your hands, you son of a bitch. That was one of my dad's favorite movies.
But there was some action over on C-SPAN. Look at all this stuff. Look at all this live stuff, man. It's busy. House is in session. Senate's in session. And we got Hakeem's out there. Here, let's see what's going on in the House right now. Here's some activity.
The Fossil Energy and Carbon Management Program at the Department of Energy by $600 million and reduce funds for the Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Program by nearly double that, $1.1 billion. The Fossil and Carbon Program's stated mission to minimize the environmental impacts of fossil fuels while net zero emissions.
Okay. So,
Looks like it's not going to pass.
an amendment that modifies funding levels for Department of Energy programs. Looks like that's going to be a nay. If we had to prognosticate that one. Modify, increase, probably? Increase or decrease? Okay, so they're voting over there in the Senate. Let's see what they're up to. Now, Rand Paul was speaking earlier, and apparently that's not here. Yeah, Rand Paul was out. And let's see. Yeah, not much going on there. So consider withdraw U.S. from Niger. Consider Senator Paul's
Why do we have troops in Niger?
Kentucky his resolution. So Senator Paul was speaking earlier to remove troops. It's a hard no, right? Senate's like, no, we like troops being everywhere. And Rand Paul's going to lose that one. But good effort, Rand. So that's what's happening out there, my friends. And let's see what you say about it. Yentika says, I like how the divine right of kings has been dredged back up from the medieval era. Shall we reinstitute
Yeah, too bad all those people aren't armed themselves. They could have just popped him off.
This looks like an interesting X.
Surprise, surprise. Somebody with that's crazy with a gun went into a place where none of the patrons were allowed to have guns of their own, and a lot of people got shot. Isn't that nuts?
And this is Johnson from his speech yesterday.
Not a single person there was defying the rule to defend,
I want to tell
able to
all my
defend
colleagues
themselves.
here what I told the Republicans.
But yeah, let's take away guns from everybody
There are any
legally.
coincidences in a matter like this. I believe that Scripture, the Bible, is very clear that God is the one that raises up those in authority. He raised up each of you, all of us. And I believe that God has ordained and allowed.
It's like a new James Freeman video. I'll probably play that when I get on the desktop.
I believe that each one of us has a huge responsibility today to use the gifts that God has given us to serve the extraordinary people of this great country, and they deserve it, and to take good care of it. I want to tell all my colleagues.
Yep, not a single person there able to defend any of those kids.
God raised each of you to use your talents at a specific moment in time. From V into this. Thank you for that one, V. Hey, we got some tips in the house too. This one from T. Lewis. What's up, T. Lewis? Says, hello, Rob. Hello, my fellow watchers. Hope everyone is having a terrific Thursday.
And then you have the cops. You know, they're not liable because they don't have to
MAGA hats
defend anybody.
Says the state dinner and the guest list was
They don't have to protect.
Is that true? That's interesting. So we don't know if Hunter was in attendance.
Supreme Court rules.
I'm guessing he was. And the leader
You can't
of
have a gun
meets with Putin today.
in this place.
That's where
and
MAGA hat stays.
The cops don't have to protect you.
This one says, so I posted this video.
What do you think that
yesterday, but it got
equals?
censored.
Time and time again. What do you think that equals?
Not here. Yeah, I didn't do it. So I'm wondering if you had a chance to hear what Gates had 13 minutes. No, I haven't. We originally got censored by YouTube. Oh, it got censored by YouTube. Oh, that one. There you go. Got it. So you put it on Rumble. No, I haven't had a chance to listen to it. What did he say? Give us the summary and your take on it. Shade says patterns. All of these since Columbine have the same exact patterns. Always 3-letter shadows. Roots are in therapists. Seriously.
Man, these trees are these leaves are falling fast. My backyard is full. And I still got to cut one more time before winter just to clean it up.
Yeah.
But my backyard is full of leaves.
It does feel strange. Like it feels like there's more often than not, there's some warning signs, you know. Somebody knew, somebody called somebody.
It's going to be a busy weekend this weekend.
Use that.
We're going to be doing a lot of burning. As long as it's dry, I can't fucking burn if it ain't dry. I got a bunch of brush I got to burn before I can eat those boxes.
Country, right? Everybody needs to get rid of their guns because they failed.
It's a good weekend though. If Saturday, if it ain't raining, because I think Michigan's on a bye week this week.
And they capitalize on it, right? They all called. That's why the governor said they all called. New York has called. Everybody called. Oh, a gun crime, perfect. They're like salivating with their dead bodies. It's really gross. But that's what they do. Now, this morning, we saw from Hakeem, apparently. So the Democrats came out, and they had a weekly news conference about what they're up to. They're talking about the mass shooting and the speaker election and the government funding deadline. And let's listen to a little bit of this.
Well, everyone, we're thankful that the House of Representatives is back open, and hopefully we can move beyond the MAGA Republican chaos, dysfunction, and extremism that has been visited upon the American people for the entire of this Congress.
Wrong.
Before I say anything further, let me just.
We got a speaker. It was unanimous. Totally united.
How heartbroken we are by the tragic events in Maine. Killing and slaughter once again of innocent Americans, families.
Yeah, they couldn't defend themselves because they couldn't have a gun on them.
Individuals injured, fighting for their lives. And we stand with the people of Maine, and we'll do so in every way possible.
Oh, I don't rake them.
It's also important.
No, the leaves fill up.
We stand by our law.
Feed my lawn. I chop them up. I mow. I just mow them. I don't ever rake them up. And the big piles you see on the road. Ain't nobody gonna come pick them up anyway. Where I live, unless I pay. Yeah, they make great mulch.
Rather than later. Thereafter, we can
It's funny. Everybody around me fucking bags their shit up and everything like that. I just mow over them.
Violence epidemic that continues to devastate community after community after community
Gun violence.
here in the United States of America.
Chopped up leaves are the best for your lawn.
And he has requested that Congress act
What?
now on a national security supplemental funding request for Israel, Ukraine, other parts of the free world,
That was a hard
along
transition.
with humanitarian
From
assistance
shooting to Middle East.
to Palestinian civilians and others who may be in harm's way.
It's a quick
The
pivot.
House needs to prepare itself to act immediately as soon as bipartisan legislation is sent over from the United States Senate. President Biden has also requested supplemental funding of some of the domestic priorities for the American people, particularly as it relates to child care, support for ensuring.
All right, let's see if there's any questions. I like the questions. Oh, good question.
I'm not going to characterize them at this point because their record clearly speaks for itself. I've been very clear about Jim Jordan. It was a clear and present
Oh
danger
my gosh.
for our democracy.
That's crazy.
Child for MAGA extremism.
Wow.
By the way, came incredibly.
A clear and present danger to our democracy. You understand that?
No,
That's
we
like
don't
an
have a
enemy of the
democracy,
state.
you
You
dumb
realize
fuck.
what they're saying? Like Jim Jordan is an enemy of the state.
Even on the right, people call it a democracy all the fucking time. It's like, jeez,
Becoming the Speaker of
it's
the
not a
House,
fucking democracy.
including with the support of so-called moderates in New York. And so there's
That's
going
what
to be
they
some
want.
accountability around that situation.
What?
We move forward.
What's going to be the
In
accountability?
terms of Speaker Johnson,
You don't control the
I'm
House.
refrain from characterizing him with labels because that's not something.
I can still burn.
You guys love labels. Give him the letter. Just
I live in an unzoned area. And it's been wet enough. I could burn them if I wanted to, but
Just like you did in
I got enough
2016.
sticks and boxes and all that other crap to burn in my fire pit.
How realistic is it that you could get this passed in a relatively short period of time, given the fact that it was so difficult to prevent the government from being shut down last time? We had such a difficult time with the debt ceiling, and one could argue the reason you have more government even speaker anymore is because of not that bipartisan deal to avoid the government shutdown. You're now asking for hundreds of billions of dollars in 2 separate supplemental packages.
You will be.
How do you expect the posture of the Republican Congress will allow something like that to happen?
It's a very simple approach to avoid visiting chaos, dysfunction, and extremism on the American people.
God.
Jesus.
That is for my Republican colleagues to stick to the agreement with respect to spending allocations that House Republicans themselves negotiated with President Joe Biden and then passed into law with respect to the Fiscal Responsibility Act. The problem that we are dealing with, unnecessary drama, has been brought about because within a week after the Bipartisan Fiscal Responsibility Act being passed, House Republicans broke their word and turned against a spending agreement.
All right, let's see.
Keep your word. Keep your word. It's the only thing that really matters in Washington, D.C. Trust.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep your word.
Oh my gosh. Is this guy on a comedy routine?
Priorities of the American people.
All right, that's Hakeem Jeffries. Just want to get a little flavor.
How is he keeping a straight face and saying
Now,
this shit?
it was interesting. He
Only a
was talking about
psychopath
shooting
could do
a
that.
and then automatically jumped over
A
to the Middle
sociopath,
East.
rather.
Joe Biden wants us to act immediately because there was a shooting here. It's like, kind of strange. Now, I just came across this one. So speaking of the Middle East, this is an interesting one. This looks like it's an exclusive from the Wall Street Journal. And this just got dropped. Here, let me see if I can swap this tab over
Hakeem Jeffries trying to sound like Obama when he talks with the pauses.
for us. And you can see here, this one just dropped, looks like yesterday, actually.
Wonder if
It
he
says
smoked
Tel
crack
Aviv, in the weeks
and
leading
sucked his dick.
attacks on Israel, hundreds of Palestinian Islamist militant groups received specialized combat training in Iran. Yeesh. So you see that, right? Trained in Iran before the attacks. And we're seeing a lot of language about decapitating Iran. Roughly 500 militants from Hamas and the allies.
Yeah, even the tranny did a manifesto, but that's odd that they won't release that one. If it was a conservative, it would be out already. If they could find one on the present shooter, it'd already be out there.
Now, more than 1,400 people, mostly civilians, were killed back then.
Surprised they haven't made one up.
Killed by Hamas fighters. And you can see some of the photographs. Attackers used aerial drones to disable observation posts. They used high-tech surveillance equipment. Some used paragliders. U.S. officials said Iran has regularly trained militants in Iran and elsewhere. They have no indications of a mass training right before the attack. That's from the U.S. Officials and the people familiar with the intelligence said they had no information to suggest Iran conducted training specifically to prepare for the events. But on Wednesday, Israel's military offered some of its most blunt comments yet on Iran's role. They said, quote, before the war, Iran directly assisted Hamas with money, training, and weapons, and technological know-how. Even now, Iran is helping Hamas with intelligence. So is that directly contradictory to what the U.S. says? The U.S. says we have no indications of a mass training. No information to suggest Iran conducted training specifically to prepare. But Israel says no. Since the attack, Israel has waged major air campaigns, striking thousands of targets. The conflict risks spilling over into a regional confrontation with Iran, which I feel like a lot of people just want to happen. The U.S. has moved forces, including 2 carrier battle groups, into the region. Israel and the U.S. have sought to highlight Iran's
That's crazy.
role in
What a carrier battle group is not just a carrier. That's like 20 fucking ships.
It has no evidence that Iran is directly involved in the planning or the approving of the attacks. All right, so like
With support ships and cruisers and destroyers around it.
Citing senior Hamas and Hezbollah officials has reported that the Quds Force helped plan the attack and agreed that they could go ahead with the meeting. Those accounts of the 10-2 meeting 5 days before the attack have been disputed by senior U.S. officials and others familiar with the intelligence surrounding the attacks. Several U.S. officials said Washington has, quote, compelling intelligence indicating that Iranian leaders were surprised by the Hamas assault.
Subs pretty much do solo. They're not usually part of a carrier group.
The information that we have does not show a direct connection to the Hamas attacks on 10/7 as it relates to Iran. That's from Brigadier General Pat Wright, Biden people last week. Again, that's something we'll look closely at, they said. Hamas officials have boasted of Iran's support since the attacks.
You got the biggest one we got there.
Hezbollah and Iran
why do you need 2?
Said Hamas
or maybe 3 they're talking about now too.
Doha. Now, as the attacks occurred, Hamas contacted a bunch of people abroad, including Hezbollah and IRCG, and Iran has long provided training and support, saying this type of stuff is difficult to do without them. Top U.S. intelligence official says rarely is it necessary for Iran to involve its personnel. They just send it off as an offshoot. So, interesting article. Conflicting stories, the fog of war, as it always is. And so let's see what you guys say about that. Here's anything happening over in Gaza. Same. Spawn Dog says, yeah, these morons in Congress have been itching to go to war with Iran for a long time. That is absolutely true. Nathan says, compelling intelligence equals wishful thinking. What is it with that new picture mentality for the politicians with the fist in the air? Is that similar to what was done with Nazis? I don't know. I think it's just like a universal, like, power thing. Like, remember we saw the BLM fist a lot? Spread all over the place. The Antichrist is saying it's going to lead to World War III. It certainly feels like that could be where we're going. Kate Tyler says, I believe Israel rather than the Biden administration. It's hard to believe the Biden administration, that's for sure. Tyler says, that's because the U.S. was facilitating the training in Iran with money and resources. And that's just personal speculation. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, we heard Blinken come out and criticize and scold Iran. Didn't you guys just unload billions of dollars for them?
hell's going on here? Oh, a funeral.
Willy-nilly.
There's a funeral even.
Marlene's here. What's up? The old bag says, I worked at a bowling alley years ago, and they were selling an Uzi there. Sounds like an interesting bowling alley. Is that like if you lose, you have to run out of the bowling alley before somebody grabs the Uzi or something? I mean, is it like Death Squad bowling night? What's up, Jackie Carrion? Golden Gaming's here. Yeah, it's weird. We're in a weird time where the circus is the COVID-19 death counts and live streaming war. Isn't it crazy? We can just literally, we can just tune into
You're blocking traffic. Stop stopping coming out of there. Jeez.
No, looks pretty quiet. Okay. Guess we'll just check back in a little while. 4,000 people watching it. And this is like one of many feeds. Like there's many of them. So it's just like, wow. It is just wild times. See if the president posted anything. No, still nothing on that account. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene was up to something interesting today. I think she was like censoring somebody. Yeah.
Okay, that had to be the back. There's 4 flags on that car.
Speaking of this.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that's exactly right. She did. Check this out.
Later, Midwest. If you want to pop in before you go live, if I'm still live, get some rust, brother.
Celeb, just like that loser Adam Schiff got censured. Remember him?
Keep up the good
I
fight.
introduced my censure resolution just a bit ago on the House floor, censuring Rashida Tlaib. Rashida Tlaib is the most anti-Semitic, anti-American, anti-Israel member of Congress, and no member of Congress in the United States of America should hate Israel and hate America. This resolution will be voted on the House floor next week, and I encourage all of my Republican colleagues and Democrats to vote to censure Rashida Tlaib.
Okay, so let's take a look at that. She posted the actual resolution. It says here, censuring Shalita. What did I just say? Shalita? No, it's Rashida Tlaib. I think I reversed her name. Sorry, Rashida. So Rashida Tlaib.
All right, guys. I am going to get some stuff set up. Like I said, I'll probably do a desktop stream. Thanks for hanging out with me on my drive. I may do some resets of the points here to where somehow we can combine them.
We saw that, no doubt. And so Rashida said that she celebrated the Holocaust, is what she said.
Mushrooms have great flavor.
And felt a calming.
Just gotta eat the right ones. You ever had morels? All right. I'll see you guys in a bit. Love you. Bye.
When she thinks about the genocide.